Thank you guys for doing this. I appreciate it.
Sure, our
Uh,
pleasure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Welcome to the Faith Film Fan Podcast. Hey guys, get out your golf clubs. We're going to talk about golf today. It's a golf movie called The Short Game. I've got the director and the producer of the film here with me, Frank Sanza, David Parks. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Thanks so much. Pleasure to be here.
So, talk to me a little bit about the difference between a director and a producer. What's the difference between the two?
Dave, go
Oh,
ahead.
wow. Well, the jobs are very different, but Frank and I are so attached at the hip that sometimes it feels like we're crossing over both ways. We're really there's been an epitome of a great team. I'm responsible more for the logistics, the overall oversight of the film. In this particular case, I was also one of the writers, so that brought me into the creative realm. And Frank, it's Frank's vision. It's his creative vision, what you see on the film.
Okay. Frank, you want to comment on that? The difference between a director and a producer?
Yeah, there's a big difference actually, and like Dave said, we did cross over in some things, but Dave is very modest and humble, but he does a ton of work for this film. I couldn't believe actually how much work goes into producing a film. So when you see the word producer on a film, it's extremely. It should be the first thing you see as a producer because they do just a ton of work to get it to where it is today.
I've heard someone
Thanks,
say,
Frank. Your check's in the mail.
yeah, let's hope so. I've heard someone say, that the director kind of has a vision for what he wants to make, and a producer helps him make it. Producer helps him
That's
get it
good.
done.
That's
Yeah,
good.
that was definitely the case with us. Frank wrote this initial script, and he had an idea. He wanted to make it, and he brought it to me to help guide that path, that journey.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we've been friends for a long time since Dave was in college, and it's really helped that we have a friendship. Sometimes you say in a marriage, if you build a house, you get divorced, but if friends they make a movie together, they could be contentious, but it wasn't. It wasn't. It was just a great joy to do this project with a good friend.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So what brought the project about? Tell me about how this project came together.
Well, about 10 years ago, I had the kernel of the idea of writing this script about a high school senior who's college, trying to get a college scholarship, and he's got a little brother who's autistic. And I played high school golf, and I have a son now who's autistic. So I kind of melted those two storylines together and started writing and put it on the shelf for a while and pulled it off. And then I had a couple of friends of mine, one in Los Angeles, one in Chicago. We wrote some more, and then I thought I had a script done, and we put a lot of work into it. And I gave it to Dave, and he said, "No, you're not done yet. You have some more work to do." But he can tell you more about that process when I sent him the script.
Yeah, Frank sent me the script, and I did what I often do with friends who send me scripts is I tried not to read it, um, because I didn't want to find out that it wasn't good and then have to kind of make excuses because I try and be very honest about projects when they come and fall in my lap. But well, I did finally sit down and read it, and I just love the premise. I love the idea. But like Frank said, it definitely needed work, especially to do it as an independent feature film. I think their original script was 162 pages and had, I don't know, 4 or 5 golf tournaments in it, and that just wasn't
Too many
feasible.
characters. Had too many
Too
characters.
many, yeah, too many speaking roles, and Rick, I know you certainly have a wealth of experience yourself as a filmmaker, and so you know how that goes. So it was an important year and a half of rewriting to not only make the script and the story better, but to actually create a film that we could make that still made the points and thematically that we wanted to express.
So I notice you got 5 writers on the project. So it starts off with Frank. Frank gets a couple writers to help him. Then he gets it in a good enough shape where he can send it to you. And then you and another writer take it from there to say, okay, you've made it good enough to send to me, but now we're going to make it good enough to film. And so you have all these people involved, and that's why sometimes you see multiple writers.
Yeah, for sure. Well, at each step too, we always think we're done. And the truth is, if there's a lesson for writers out there, it's you're never done.
Never done.
There's always something else. Frank wrote this original idea and maybe thought he was done. And brought in Larry and Joran, two good friends of his, and they worked on this thing for a couple of years. And they thought, oh, it's done. And he brought it to me. And, I'm like, oh, no, it's not done. And I give it to Frank, and I work on it for months and months and months. And then I'm feeling pretty good about it. And then we gave it to Florrie Lawrence, who also happens to be my wife, and she's a screenwriter and has directed a feature herself before. And she read it and was like, "You think this is done? No, no
No.
way." And so, then it launched another like 6, 8 months where Florrie and Frank and I worked very closely together to get it to where it was, and right up to when we started shooting. Um, we had 2 extra weeks because of the SAG strike. We were one of the first films to get the waiver to work under an interim agreement. And in those 2 weeks, I mean, you can always benefit from more prep work, but we did a lot of work on the script, even in those last couple weeks.
So just kind of walking through the process of how to make an independent film. So from your idea, Frank, you said, I think I got an idea. I'm going to start writing a script to this point to where you're going, okay, we've got a script that we think is done, from David's wife. Okay. How long was that process?
From my initial thought of doing the film to getting it to where we had a script ready to go was probably an 8 year process, probably. But again, the beginning part was I put on the shelf for a while and take it off, so it's not a continuous 8 years. But probably
Once you took it off the shelf, how long was it once you took it off the shelf?
probably 5 years.
Wow.
Probably 5 years.
That's why these things take so long to make. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
so many interviews, 7 years, 8 years,
yeah. I mean, we could have made it earlier, but you would have never heard about it.
Okay. So 7 years, 8 years, whatever. And now we've got a script. So now walk me through, okay, we want to make a movie. We've got a script. We're going to have to hire actors. We're going to have to get camera people. We're going to have to get lighting people and sound people and locations and food and clothes. And that's going to take money. Talk to me about,
Yeah.
the next step. We got a script. We like a script. I know, David, this isn't your first rodeo. You've produced quite a few things. So talk to me then about what happens. We've got a script. Now what?
Well, yeah, we had to find money, and the whole thing is independently financed. We had no promise of distribution at the time. We had no studio connections. We didn't yet have a cast, but we felt good about what we were trying to do. So we initially took it to some people we thought would be friendly investors, or actually friends of Frank in his community in the Texoma area of Texas and Oklahoma. And we did a little presentation for them, and they kicked in our first funds. And at that point in time, we had these discussions. Okay, so we have this amount of money. It's not what we're really looking for, but we want to make a movie. So we were ready to make the movie for significantly. I mean, the budget wasn't that big to begin with, but at the end. But can we make this on a super shoestring budget? Because we just wanted to make a movie, and it would have been a different movie, of course. And then we got very fortunate and were introduced to Dan Hagel, who just he has he's just really interested in movies and good films, and he kind of became an angel investor for us and has been incredibly supportive, and allowed us to make the movie the way we wanted to do it. It's still a low budget film, don't get me wrong, but it allowed us to get legit actors and do a SAG film and have multiple cameras and so forth. So
Okay. Do you mind telling me what the budget is? Is that something you want to talk about?
we've kind of agreed we're not giving budget numbers
Okay.
out, but
Okay.
we are a low budget
So
SAG film. So
when you're making a film, let's go generic then. When you're making a film, you know, an independent film, what kind of money are you talking about? You know, 100,000, a million, 10 million? I mean, what kind of numbers are you really normally needing to have in the real world to make, to just, you know, to make a film?
I don't think there's an actual number. Like one of the reasons we were able to make this was we got so many freebies and so many favors, and these ranged from, and I'll certainly let Frank talk about I want him to talk about the support from the community where we film and what we got from them, but it was also that, you know, our Hollywood connections, Panavision and Cinelease and companies like that, either donating items or giving them to us for a very reduced rate is how you end up being able to do that. So there's always the number you spent and then the number that it should have cost to do exactly what you did. And so you know, in our case, I mean, you can make a movie for $10,000 if you want to shoot it on your iPhone with a bunch of your friends. We had always targeted a minimum of $1 million to do this kind of the way we wanted to. And just to give you a range, we ended up with a bit more than that. But we certainly weren't, I mean, you know, we certainly weren't even to the point. I look at all the independent films that have done well recently, and they're like, you know, low budget, 5-6 million. We weren't anywhere
I
close
know
to
it's
that.
so expensive, you know, that's a lot of
Yeah.
money to
Yeah.
find somebody to just, you know, to invest.
And
Frank,
like Dave said, we had the kindness of a lot of people in our community donate locations like high school. We got to shoot there, and we shot at a local church, and we shot at a burger joint called MG's, and we shot at a florist nursery. We shot, the big one was of course the golf course, and that was a really great find in Bonham, Texas. A gal named Beth Porter let us use the Legacy Ridge golf course. She ran that course, and she let us take over for 2.5 weeks. And
wow,
Yeah.
that was the big deal. So at no charge. So that was, you can imagine.
wow.
Yeah.
That
So
that was definitely one of the biggest challenges. We had some connections at this fabulous golf course in Frisco, which is ironically the new home of the PGA. And they were, you know, we toured the course and they're like, yeah, we'd love to help you out. We can give you the golf course on Mondays. And we're like, well, we need more than one day. And they said, well, you can do it multiple Mondays. Of course, they don't understand that you can't shoot for one day and come back. But you know, we needed 2.5 weeks on a golf course alone, or maybe it wasn't quite 2.5. It spread out over 2.5 weeks, and just the golf alone. And we made Legacy Ridge Country Club look like basically 5 different golf courses. And we were fortunate the layout of it. Frank, tell about like the links
the
and
layout, the layout of the front nine is more of a links course and had some water in it. And the back nine was more of a forest course with a lot of deeper topography. And so we could make it look like two different courses. So it was really easy to kind of fool the viewer that we were in two different places.
Wow. How do you get a golf course to give you access to their golf course for free for 2.5 weeks? How's
I
that even
know.
possible?
It
Frank's charm.
was a true gift. It was a true gift.
Everybody loves Frank. I will tell you that I mean, I'm, you know, Frank and I've been friends for 30 plus years, but I can't tell you how much people will bend over backwards, not because we're making a movie. Like it's a hassle for them, but you know, Frank really, people wanted to support him and help him, and that was huge. And the golf course, we did everything we could to minimize the disruption. So we had a very well planned out schedule. We were on the back nine. Their golfers would play the front nine. We figured out ways, like in the story, you might see them tee off on the third hole, the fifth hole, the ninth hole. What we would do is we'd go to one tee box and we'd tee off right to left, and then we'd turn around and put the camera on the other side. So instead of now looking out over the golf course, you're looking into woods and they're teeing off the other direction. And it was tricks like that to minimize our footprint on the course itself. And just so then all players had to do was go around one hole versus just blocking off the whole course.
Fantastic. Um, so then now so we got some money. We're getting started. We got to find actors. We got to find crew. Tell me a little bit about that process, because you need to find an actor who can somewhat simulate someone who knows how to play golf, right? You need that. So you need him to at least have a swing that's believable. So,
Right.
tell me about that, finding that.
Well, we talked about actors who play golf, and we can teach them how to act, or actors who know how to play golf and or know how to act and teach them how to golf. So we kind of had a blend of those two things. We had an actor who played the bad guy, Bruce, in the movie. He was actually a high school golfer. He actually just came off a tournament where he won 4th place in Texas. And so he was a good golfer, and his swing looked good, and we could get full shots of him head to toe, swinging the club and being believable. Then we had Ben Krieger, who never played golf, the lead, never played golf in his life. He came out 2 days prior. I had 2 days with him to teach him how to play. The good thing was that the key was I never had a ball. I never had him hit a ball. We just learned how to hold the club right and how to swing right. And are you a golfer?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I grew up on a golf course, and my dad was a big golfer.
You can understand the fact that when you put the ball down, your practice swing goes out of the window, and you try to hit the ball, and you look terrible doing it.
That's right. That's right.
So we never let him hit a ball, and because we can put the ball in CG later, the computer can put the ball in later. Is what we did. So
Fantastic.
his swing was very respectable by the time we got done.
Yeah. Uh-huh. It was passable.
Yeah,
I mean, it was definitely.
Yeah.
It was. If you are a golfer and you pay really close attention, you never shoot a movie in chronological order, right? And you could, so as each scene happens, you can kind of pick out where he is in the development of his swing and also that was kind of funny. But yeah, Aiden Alexander, who played Bruce, the antagonist you love to hate, we didn't have to worry about his golf at all. And he, despite limited experience as an actor, oh my gosh, I mean, he just really was able to nail that almost sympathetic bad guy. Because I feel, and this is one of the things I love about the script, we really made an effort to let the viewer understand why is he a jerk, not just make him like a jerk for the sake of the movie, but you learn through his relationship that you see with his father,
Yeah,
that
controlling dad, overbearing dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he was really able to tap into that and understand that. I'm sure his dad's a great guy. I'm not saying he tapped into it from personal experience, but he understood, and a lot of that is Frank being able to talk to him about that, and here's how we want to approach this.
Was that his first acting role?
His first major acting role. Yeah.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah, he did. He did. He
You
really
wouldn't know
did.
you wouldn't know he didn't know how to act. You wouldn't know. So we've got some money to start with, and then when did you find this executive producer who came in to really kind of help you get over the finish line? How far were you in the process when you found him?
In the process of finding money, we were probably, I'm not sure, Dave, do you remember? It's like a year into it.
Yeah, I would say it was he actually came in with an initial support for us, and that was maybe 8-9 months before we filmed. And then as we got along, developed, and we would talk to him about, a question he would ask a lot, and is what does the film look like for this amount versus this amount? And we were able to answer that. Well, for this amount of money, we will be able to do, approach it this way. But for that amount, for more money, this is what we'll do. And we give him all sorts of levels. And and I think he was right in asking those questions so that he felt comfortable that we would do things properly and not frivolously waste his money. We were very, very conservative. I always say I treat budgets like it's my own money, and I want to get as much value out of every dollar. And we didn't spend any money until incredibly close to filming. I mean, casting was the first thing when we finally hired a casting director. That was the first legit money that we spent on this film, because you have to know your cast, right? You want people to give you money, but you have to know your cast is, but your cast doesn't want to commit till they know you have money. So um, we were fortunate. We were blessed, it's just like,
For sure.
it just,
And Dan would our angel investor would call and talk to him about what we needed, and he would say, "Well, I think you might need this much more." He would tell us that, and
Okay.
we were like, "Yes,
I think you might be right about that.
yes."
You just might be right.
yeah. Well, his first,
he was right. It wasn't like it was frivolous money or money that wasn't well spent. It was well
Mhm.
spent. But just we're so thankful to have a guy that could see that and was able to give us the trust to pull it off.
So from our 8-year point, we got a script. We're going to get moving now. How long from there till you wrapped filming?
well, it went really fast.
Yeah.
It went, so originally we were going to shoot in the spring, and then a variety of, we just weren't ready. A variety of things conspired against it. It's like we'd rather do it right and push a little later. But as you know, at some point you just have to pick a date and say this is it, because actors can't commit if they don't know when their start is. And so we picked we pushed into what was going to be mid-June, timed it perfectly for the SAG strike. Like you start thinking, oh no, now what, right? And thankfully, we got the waiver to work through SAG and the interim agreement, which then pushed us to just after the 4th of July. And so I think we started on July 5th or 6th, something like that. But in that time, we hired our crew. I went and started living kind of full time for the film in Texas in May at some point. And
Is this
so
May of
then
last year? Is this May of last year?
2023,
2023, 2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah. And so most of our post-production, other than casting, happened really within a couple months. I mean, the legit stuff. And, Frank and I would always, it's like one foot in front of the other, like the old Christmas, animated Christmas song, that's it. It's baby steps. That's how you have to approach it. Otherwise you'll be overwhelmed and you'll never get anywhere.
I'm hearing Mickey Rooney right now singing.
Yeah.
Put one foot in front of the other.
That's exactly it.
That's it.
And we finished shooting. So 21-day schedule of principal photography, and it went quite smoothly. I let Frank can tell you the stories about the heat, but the silver lining was that it didn't rain, which when you're doing a golf movie, we'd rather, like, heat is much more.
Well, here's the miracle that happened and that is it rains during that time of year here in Texas, but those 21 days, it did rain in Bonham where we were, but it rained all around the golf course. It never rained on the golf course. And if it rained on the golf course, we wouldn't have been able to get our trucks out there. We wouldn't have been able to be out there with all the equipment. And we were very fortunate that God chose to just rain around the golf course and not on the golf course. So
Fantastic.
very, very fortunate.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So from the script to, what was it, 2 years? 2 years from script being done to filming?
Probably, depending on when you say the script was done, maybe a year and a half, maybe
Yeah.
2
Okay.
years from when we started. Yeah.
Okay.
And
then that was
then
2
post,
years ago. So we're 8 plus 2 is 10 plus 2 now. So
Yeah.
from the time he took it off the shelf to now are 12 years.
Yeah, and 2020, so August 2023, we finished shooting. We're obviously immediately into editing. Fantastic editor Kevin Ross is a friend of mine from when I was in film school at USC, and great editor, edited Stranger Things, Yellow Jackets, shows like that, and but wanted to do a movie, and it was the right time, hit him at the right time of schedule. So we edited through, um, well, we edited in January, like December 31st was the first time we decided to share a cut of the film, and we sent it to Dan, our executive producer, and like we just held our breath. So we sent it to him and we don't hear anything and we don't hear anything. And it's like, it's okay. It's New Year's, So we sent him a little text and we're like, hey, if you have a problem accessing the link or something, let us know. And we don't hear anything and we don't hear anything and we bump him again. And then he says, so sorry, haven't watched it yet. So now it's been like a week, right? And we're like dying because
Fine.
we have no idea. And finally he watched it with his wife, and we got a text, and all it said was, "We loved it," in cap letters, and it was like big breath, exhale.
Yeah,
Um,
Woo.
and we kept editing, and we finished on, I believe it was May 31st. We were completely done with post. We had done all the pickups we needed to do. We had done all the post production. And on June 1st, we started submitting to film festivals. And that started our festival circuit. And within 3 days, we had already been accepted way ahead of notification date into our first. It wasn't the first festival we appeared in, but it was the first one we got into, which was Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival. We actually premiered at Newport Beach, and so that process was also important for us. We I think 18 festivals we ended up in, and did pretty well. Got great
And
reactions and won some
why go to
awards.
festivals? What was the purpose of doing the festivals?
The purpose of going to festivals was, one, to build awareness, and two, because we didn't have distribution yet. So we wanted to entice distributors to want to help us. And that's what ended up happening. And we were really fortunate. Abramarama is releasing the film. They are a respected and legitimate partner to have in film releasing. There are we were approached by a lot of companies, but they were sort of a level up from some of the ones that we considered. And we've also done something kind of unique, which is we're keeping control of our own marketing. So as opposed to just selling the film, you make this amount of money and then you walk away from it. We're spending more money, but there's no cap on how we can do. So we're rolling that dice as well.
Okay. And now you're going to be in theaters August 29th. In theaters. How many theaters are you going to be in?
Um, we're going to be in AMC and Regal chains around the country. The first week, August 29th, we're going to have a somewhat limited release. I mean, it'll still probably be upwards of 200 theaters, which is, I guess, still considered limited. And then we'll go even wider the next week, and hopefully people will come out and see the film and support it. And, we keep that theatrical journey for as long as the chains want to keep us in. We'll also be in a lot of indie theaters around
Okay.
the country as
So
well.
this is a full theatrical. This isn't like a Fathom event or a Trafalgar.
No.
No.
Okay. Well, guys, we're talking about the film, The Short Game, and we're talking to Frank Sanza and David Parks, director and producer. It's going to be in theaters August 29th. And you can get more information and find a theater near you by going to shortgamemovie.com. Frank and David, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Loved
Thanks
it.
so much.